You know, I still get chills thinking about that night at the Lux Pavilion Gala, where all these high rollers in their designer suits and sparkling gowns were sipping champagne like it was water, laughing about how untouchable they were until this one woman walked in, looking like she'd just stepped off the streets and turned the whole place upside down. Her name was Emma Reed, wrapped in this old, faded jacket that had seen better days, backpack slung over her shoulder, shoes worn down to nothing, and she didn't flinch when the room went dead quiet, staring at her like she was some intruder crashing their fancy party for the Community Land Trust. Yeah, the same trust that was supposed to protect local neighborhoods from big developers. But everyone knew it was just a front for guys like Alexander Hayes to grease palms and push through their condo projects. Emma, she just stood there, her hair tied back simple, no makeup, just this quiet strength in her eyes that you'd miss if you were too busy judging her scuffed hands. And she cleared her throat, voice steady as a rock. Mind if I play one song on that piano over there? In exchange for a bite to eat. Been a long day. The laughter hit like a wave. You could feel it building from the back tables where the socialites clustered, their diamond necklaces catching the chandelier light. And this one lady in a glittering dress, call her Vivian, old money type, whose family owned half the waterfront, snorted so loud it echoed, leaning into her banker husband with that fake pity smile. Oh darling, look at her, thinking she can just waltz in here and touch our Steinway. Probably hasn't seen soap in weeks. And he chuckled back, flicking his gold cufflinks. Yeah, she'd bang on it like a toddler, hey. Someone call security before she turns this into a flea market. Alexander Hayes, the big shot land developer at the head table, broad-shouldered with that perpetual tan from his yacht trips, he loved this stuff. You see, because deep down he hated anyone who reminded him of the folks he'd displaced for his luxury towers, folks like Emma, who'd lost her home years ago when his company bulldozed a veteran housing block under the guise of urban renewal. All while he chaired this charity gala to polish his image. He stood up, arms wide like he owned the room, which he pretty much did, whistling sharp. All right, folks, let's make a game of it. If this street wanderer can play one tune that makes even one of you softies tear up, I'll foot her dinner and toss in $1,000. But come on, odds are she'll flop in 5 seconds flat. And the crowd roared, shouting bets like it was Vegas, their glasses clinking in mock toasts, while the manager, this slick guy with a goatee, hissed at Emma, scratch that ivory end. You'll pay with whatever life's left in you. Motioning to the burly guards who started closing in, their steps heavy on the marble floor. Emma didn't budge, her fingers tightening on her backpack strap just a touch, eyes locked on that glossy Steinway like it was an old friend calling her name. And here's where it gets real, because inside, Emma was carrying this promise she'd made years back, during her days as a combat medic in the desert. Playing tunes on busted keyboards for soldiers staring down the barrel of loss, keeping their spirits flickering when the bombs fell silent. She'd vanished from the concert halls after that, walking away from fame because the spotlight felt hollow next to the real pain she'd seen, choosing the streets over selling out. But tonight, drawn by the gala's glow through the windows, hunger gnawing but that promise burning brighter, she wasn't desperate, she was on a mission. The mockery kept piling on, a venture capitalist from the balcony yelling down with his smug grin. Amateur hour. My kid's toy piano sounds better. His assistant fake laughing along, phones out recording like it was viral gold, and Vivian chimed in sharper. No way, a nobody like her has the technique. Music takes money. Lessons, class. Her words laced with that jealousy she hid behind her pearls, because deep down, these folks feared anyone who didn't need their world to shine. Alexander, sensing the fun slipping if she actually sat down, waved the guards closer. Drag her out before she ruins the vibe of it. You got real donors here, not charity cases. But Emma, calm as ever, slipped past them with a polite nod, sat at the bench, hands hovering shaky at first, drawing more snickers. Look, she's gonna break it. And then, bam, she struck that first note, a pure G that rang out like a bell in the hush, cutting the laughter dead. From there, it was like the air shifted, her fingers dancing into this gentle folk melody, subtle pedals breathing life into it. Nothing flashy, but heavy with memory, like the song she'd played for buddies who never made it home. And the room froze. The guard with the crew cut pausing his radio. Sophia, the young barista in the corner, a music major scraping by on tips, setting down her tray with trembling hands. Eyes wide because she felt it too. That pull of something real piercing the fake glamour. Alexander muttered, "Fluke," knuckles white on his glass. But Emma didn't glance up, just let the notes build, weaving in a burst of thundering chords that exploded like fireworks. Intricate runs that had the old judge in the front wiping his fogged glasses, tears slipping unbidden, and when she softened back to the melody, it was like coming up for air after a storm. The holdouts tried one last job, a fashion mogul standing dramatic. Smoke and mirrors. Anyone can fake a bar or two. Her sidekick snapping fingers dismissively, but Emma flowed seamless into Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, the notes soft as moonlight spilling over the tables, then ramping into a defiant Rachmaninoff prelude, her body swaying in sync, hands blurring with speed that screamed virtuoso. And suddenly Vivian was covering her mouth, a sob breaking through her moxie, the venture guy, flinching as his watch buzzed wild, phone clattering forgotten. The bet crumbled right there, tears streaming down faces that had been smirking minutes ago. Sophia's openly weeping, clasping her hands like prayer. In Alexander's face went ashen, yanking cash from his pocket, tossing it onto the piano with a shaky bark. "Take your pity money and scram, you don't belong." But Emma stood slow, spine straight like the soldier she was. "This was your game. And you lost fair, keep your alms," pressing the wad into Sophia's hands instead. "You cried true, kid. Let this cover your skull, don't let the music die." Whispers rippled then, an art dealer in the back gasping. "Wait. You're Emma Reed, the prodigy who dropped off the map after the front lines, playing for troops in the sand." And it hit like a bomb, the truth unraveling. She'd been a medal-winning pianist, but the war broke something, left her choosing anonymity over acclaim, fighting quiet battles against developers like Alexander who'd raised her old community for profit, all tied to this charity's hypocritical board. The crowd turned, applause building slow at first from the guilty ones, the judge on his feet shaking, murmurs demanding Alexander step down. He's the real intruder, turning vets' land into playgrounds for the rich, and he slunk away, chuckle dying weak, as the manager stammered about dinner, ignored in the raw respect filling the air. In the days after, it all unraveled. Alexander's deals tanked when sponsors bailed, viral clips of his cruelty trending, Vivian ghosting her circles, invitations drying up like her fake tears. Emma didn't stick around for the fallout, just slipped out into the night, jacket still frayed, pausing at the door with Sophia trailing grateful. "Why here? Why now?" And Emma glanced at a passing truck rumbling like those field hospital runs, promised to a friend who didn't make it, play for the silenced. Once the trust got fresh blood, Emma and Sophia tapped for the board, but she took her time, wandering parks, dropping coins for buskers, smiling that quiet way when one said, "You got stories in those eyes." Makes you wonder, though, was it justice, or just a mirror these folks couldn't face? What do you think? Ever seen power flip like that in your neighborhood? Or is it all smoke till someone strikes a note? Drop a comment, share your take on who's really the outsider in these games. Hit like if it hit home, and subscribe for more real talk tales that stick with you.